Hey everybody, welcome back to Sama Sisters Against Mental Abuse. I'm your host Misty, and today I have a question for you black women. Is there anything that Chris Brown can do to turn you off? Is there anything that Chris Brown can do to make you stop supporting him? He told us that our hair texture is garbage. He let us know that he doesn't like darker skin complexions, and he let us know that he really doesn't like women at all, if we're being honest. But there it is. Black women, the ones with the 4C hair, the ones with the darker skin, were the ones paying thousands of dollars just to take a picture with him, just to touch the hem of his garment. Like, this man has y'all in a chokehold. So if you don't know, unprovoked, Jill Scott got on Twitter to talk about how amazing Chris Brown is. She just can't figure out how is it that Chris Brown can sing and dance and act and rap and do all blah 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 blah. He's just so gifted. Blah blah blah. There's nothing to debate. Now, part of me thought she was trolling because she said there's nothing to debate. And of course, there was a woman who called her out, which I appreciate. Chrissy LCSW, which I'm assuming is a licensed clinical social worker, said, "Hey, I think the women that Chris Brown has abused would disagree with you." So I'm thinking we should listen to the licensed clinical social worker, but no. Jill Scott went on and talked about how her mother's ex husband was a mean, violent human, but he could lay cement. So it was awe inspiring to watch this man lay cement, I guess, because the bar is in hell. And he got a raise and praise for his ability. God dealt with the rest. Ugh. I don't even know why y'all like to bring God into this, but it keeps going. Someone asked for clarification. So, what does this mean? So, Jill Scott comes back. Well, it means he had something to offer. He did cruel things, and she goes on to talk about how she forgave him because of his trauma, yada, yada, yada. More people have questions, and she decided to say how she cautions people who refuse to forgive. Forgiveness is something that everyone needs at some point in their life, and we're all flawed and need help. Blah, 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 blah. First of all, I don't appreciate because black women do this specifically for black men. Whenever a black man does something terrible, I notice that black women are the first ones to say, well, forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. But we don't give that same, grace to other black women. We just don't. Like, side note, but look at what's happening with Megan. Look at what happened with Megan. Megan will never get a break. Megan Thee Stallion will never get a break. They could accuse her of whatever they want, and people are just going to eat it up. But here we have a man that is a known abuser, and forgiveness. It's the same script because Kelly Rowland said the same thing. And I did a video on this. I think it was last year or something like that. I went through his whole record, like all of his interactions with police and like the restraining orders and like all that. People magazine has a whole list and a timeline, and I talked about it in another video. But it's the same script. They can't even say no, he's not abusive. They just say forgive him. You can forgive someone and not support them, especially because Chris Brown did not stop in, what was that, 2009, when he did that to Rihanna. He's only gotten worse. Like, he's only gotten more violent. So it's not even like forgiveness is something that he needs. Like, he's not trying to get forgiveness. He's never been humble and, talked about being a monster to people and trying to find a new path. Like, he's not trying to make a change. We can see that. Like, we already know if we want. And then the other thing is, like, you're silencing and defending violence against women, period. Like, and you're weaponizing forgiveness, and you're weaponizing God and the Bible. If you know anything about the Bible, sure, it talks about forgiveness, but nowhere in the Bible does it say that you are not responsible and that you won't have to deal with the repercussions of the stuff that you do. Like, it does not say that in the Bible. Like, take for example, we know David in the Bible did some stuff that was really messed up. Like, he had a man, taken out. He had an affair. Like, he did some stuff that was really awful. And yeah, he begged for forgiveness, but that didn't save him from being hunted down. Like, people just say this stuff, and it's always to other black women. what is going on here? Jill Scott is like in her 50s or something, right? Like she's supposed to be one of those women that we can come to, that we can listen to, that we can look up to. She's supposed to be wise. This is not wise to me. Like, and we're also pretending like Jill Scott is the only one. Like, I gotta give kudos to the black women that called her out. But she's not the only one. Like, I'm looking at the comments in some of these videos and some of these, social media sites, Instagram and stuff, and there's women that are defending what she said. So they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, people change." Chris Brown is not changed. I assure you. Like, we can look at his record and see that this man has not changed. We can't simultaneously be like, "Oh, no, protect black women," and "No, we don't like domestic violence," and then go around and support the men that are doing these actions. Like, he literally contributed to the numbers of domestic violence. Like, think about that. He literally contributed. He added some numbers to the list of women that have to get restraining orders, the list of women that have to endure domestic partner violence, like intimate partner violence. Like, he contributed to that, and y'all out here supporting him. And this is what I said before in that Nicki video. Like, there's no shame. There's no, I don't know, social accountability. So because you all are reinforcing their negative behavior with positive behavior, it doesn't matter. Like, Chris Brown is unapologetically abusive, and he can afford to do it because you know why? He knows that black women are going to support. He knows that black women are going to spend thousands of dollars to take pictures with him. Black women are going to go on Twitter and talk about how amazing he is. Like I said, the comments, people talking about, "Oh, well, Chris Brown, they can never make me hate you." You don't have to hate him, but just stop supporting him. Like, I hate that so much. Like, a black man could do anything and just not be held accountable for it. Like, is there nothing that they can do wrong in your eyes? Like, it's like black women had this programming to uplift and support black men no matter what. Abuser, you got to support and uplift and forgive. Oh, that forgiveness one really makes me upset because now I think about all the black women who were in abusive relationships and they got out. But they were shamed. They were told, "Well, you got to forgive. You got to let him in the kid's life. You got to do this. You got." And so she tries to be the bigger person and she lets this man back into her life and he takes her life. Like, I've read so many stories like that. Forgiveness doesn't have to be you going on Twitter and talking about how amazing he is. Forgiveness doesn't have to be you seeing him ever again. Like, stop it. Stop you. Oh, that makes me upset to like weaponize forgiveness. Forgiveness is going to look different. And plus, why is Jill Scott talking about forgiveness when he didn't do this to her? So where is the forgiveness? Kelly Rowland said the same thing. Like, where is the y'all don't, you've not been a victim of him. So how is it your place to say how somebody should do forgiveness? You don't get to tell people how to forgive someone. I hate that. I wish that black women would just stop. Like, stop letting people dictate how we forgive. Like, and then using the Bible anyway. I'm gonna get off that point, but yes, I want black women to undo this programming that we have to be the protectors of black men. Like, nobody asked Jill Scott to say nothing, literally. Like, we were all just minding our business. And the part that gets me is I don't see where he's responded. Like, Jill Scott is getting dragged. She's been getting dragged for the last couple days, and I don't see Chris Brown saying nothing. I don't. I mean, he might. Sure, go ahead. It doesn't change how I feel about the situation, but he's not protecting her or defending her. Especially with Kelly Rowland. He didn't protect or defend her either, or Sierra, or none of them. Like, you guys that are protecting him, you're just disposable army figures. Like, you're you're the pawns and he's the king. You're standing in front of him, protecting him, and he's not going to do the same thing for you. I mean, reciprocal relationships are a whole different story, but come on now. There's no reason that any black woman should be actively supporting Chris Brown. And I'm gonna die on that hill. Like, that's what I'm standing by. Thanks for joining me today and listening to my rant. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Also, if you are a black woman with a story of mental abuse to share, or if you are a black woman in the mental health field, reach out to us to be featured on the show at samatogethernow@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at Sama Together Now, and you can also find us on Facebook at Sisters Against Mental Abuse. Thanks for listening, and remember, mental abuse is abuse.